Today, we're plunging into, well, a phenomenon, really. Taylor Swift.
Yeah, phenomena is the right
Her
word.
presence is it's huge, almost impossible to ignore, right? And her influence, it stretches way beyond just the music charts.
Totally. It's in the artistry, the performances, her image, politics, fashion.
Even the way people talk and think, it's all part of this thing people call the Taylor Swift effect.
Right.
So our mission today is to really unpack that, the incredible breadth of her impact. We're going to look at her musical journey, sure, but also her business side.
Which is formidable.
Exactly. And that global ripple effect she has. We've gone through the sources, and we're going to distill the key insights for you. Basically, your shortcut to understanding one of the biggest cultural figures of our time.
And that's really the goal here, isn't it? To explore how one single artist managed to become such a dominant force. Not just in music, but across culture, the economy. Even universities are studying her now.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
She just challenges assumptions at every turn, Shows that maybe this idea of a huge, unifying cultural figure isn't completely gone, even now.
Okay, so setting the stage for this massive influence, it really has to start with the music, doesn't it? Her as the musical architect. She debuted super young, 16 was it, back in 2006, an independent singer-songwriter. What stood out about her music right from the get-go?
Well, for me, it was the versatility, even early on, and how she just refused to be boxed in. She started in country,
That's
obviously,
right, like country, yeah.
but almost immediately she was blurring those lines,
Yeah.
moving into pop. Later, you get alternative rock, indie folk, electronic touches.
The real mix.
Exactly. That's why you see critics calling her a cultural quintessence, is that rare mix. Massive chart success, genuine critical respect, and that incredibly passionate fan base.
That cultural quintessence idea, it really captures something unique. And thinking specifically about country music first, how did she manage to reshape it, especially being so young in a genre often seen as, well, pretty traditional?
Yeah, it's fascinating. She really became one of the most acclaimed country artists of her generation. And she did it by bringing something fresh, modernity, a kind of cosmopolitan feel, youth.
Right.
Her songs, being so autobiographical about love and heartbreak, they just connected. And connected so strongly that she actually lowered the average age of country listeners, below 25, which is a huge shift.
Wow.
And crucially, it wasn't just a U.S. thing. Fearless, her second album, sold like crazy in Asia too by 2011.
Yeah.
Hundreds of thousands of copies. So that global reach was there early.
And she was smart about using the internet too, wasn't she? Like MySpace back in the day.
Oh, definitely. Pioneering, really, for country artists at the time. Using MySpace to build a following, which then helped convince radio stations to play her, proving her viability online first.
Okay, so she makes this huge mark in country, uses the internet smartly,
Yeah.
but then she pivots towards pop.
Yeah.
How did she redefine that genre, expand its boundaries?
Right, the big shift.
Ah.
And that really comes into focus with 1989.
2014. Huge album.
Massive. And it solidified her as a pop icon. But what's really interesting is how she did it. She consciously avoided the dominant trends at the time, like leaning heavily into hip-hop or R&B crossovers. Instead, she went for this, pure pop sound, often with that 80s synth-pop throwback feel. And that inspired a whole wave of younger artists.
So she showed you didn't have to follow the crowd.
Exactly. Proved that huge chart success and having a really clear artistic vision weren't, mutually exclusive. It opened doors for artists to mix genres without getting stuck in one lane.
And it wasn't just one pivot, was it? Her whole career is marked by these reinventions. She's been called a music chameleon. How did that play out after 1989?
Well, even before 1989, Red in 2012 really stirred things up.
Right, Red had everything. Country, pop, electronic bits, rock.
Yeah, it fueled those genre debates. But then jump to 2020 and you get Folklore and Evermore.
Surprise pandemic albums.
Exactly, and they completely shifted perceptions again. Suddenly she's deep into indie folk, chamber pop, alternative rock. It was such a left turn, but so successful, it actually boosted interest in folk music generally. You hear artists like Noah Kahan talking about her influence there.
Incredible versatility. Okay, so beyond the genres, let's talk songwriting. Google's most searched songwriter ever. That's quite a stat.
It's wild, isn't it?
What is it about her lyrics that connects so powerfully?
I think it's that balance she strikes. She writes about universal feelings, love, loss, friendship, whatever, but through these incredibly specific personal details. Academics call it hyperspecificity.
Hyperspecificity, okay.
She uses her own life story, but somehow it reflects, as one source put it, the world's emotional angst. And that vulnerability, that rawness, It really did make space for other artists, people like Ariana Grande, Halsey, Billie Eilish, to be more open in their own work.
It normalized vulnerability in pop.
In a big way, yeah. And it's not just pop culture talk. Academics are comparing her biographical songs to classic poets like Emily Dickinson, Charlotte Bronte, even novelists like Mary Shelley. One British scholar just flat out called her a real poet.
Wow. Dickinson and Swift.
Right. And now we even have the term Swiftian for works that kind of echo her style. Plus, apparently, her songs are helpful for people learning English. The clarity, maybe.
That's fascinating. So, okay, we've got the musical genius, the songwriter, but that's really only part of the picture. She's also this, like, business powerhouse.
Oh, absolutely. An unparalleled marketing genius, some call her. An entrepreneurial role model.
How did that shift happen? Or was it always there?
I think it was always there, but it became undeniable. I mean, think about it. She topped Billboard's Power 100 list.
Yeah.
That's usually reserved for, male record label execs.
Right.
And her commercial success, it's just historically unprecedented, especially now in the streaming era where album sales generally tanked for most artists. She's a total anomaly.
Give us a sense of the scale. What kind of numbers are we talking about?
Just record-breaking numbers.
Yeah.
Consistently. Most weeks ever at #1 on the Billboard 200 for a solo artist. Most #1 albums for a woman. She's the only artist ever to have held the entire top 10 of the Hot 100 singles charts simultaneously.
The whole top 10.
The whole top 10. And later, the whole top 14. And get this, 7 different albums selling over 1 million copies in their first week in the U.S. alone. That just doesn't happen anymore for almost anyone else.
Unbelievable.
And internationally. Named the IFPI Global Recording Artist of the Year 5 times. Nobody else has done that.
So she's described as a one-woman brand, right? Taylor Swift Inc. Her brand power is compared to Marvel. Seriously.
Seriously. And some estimates suggest if she were a brand, her net promoter score, like how much people recommend her, would put her among the top 5 most admired brands globally, like Apple, Nike, Taylor Swift.
That's incredible. And she's meticulous about protecting that brand too, right? Buying up domain names like taylorswift.porn.
Yeah, preemptive strikes to prevent misuse. It shows incredible foresight and maybe sets a new standard for how artists need to think about their digital presence.
Does that foresight extend to her online presence generally?
Oh, absolutely. She was natively online, as they say, way before it was standard practice for major artists. A true social media powerhouse.
How so? What makes her strategy different?
It's this integrated approach. Timed announcements, these seemingly intimate chats with fans using photos, videos, messages. It all feels very personal, even though it's obviously also brilliant marketing.
Yeah.
Other celebrities have definitely noticed and tried to replicate her promotional tactics. That level of fan engagement is the goal.
And part of that engagement comes from her eras, doesn't it? These distinct album cycles.
Hugely important. She's credited with making that sort of 2-year album cycle a thing again, and definitely popularizing the whole era concept beyond just her own fans.
What's the genius behind structuring her career that way?
It keeps things fresh, for one, but it's also about engagement. The Easter eggs, the cryptic clues she drops before each era.
Right, the puzzles.
Exactly. It turns her whole discography into this kind of music universe, a giant puzzle fans can solve together. It builds community and anticipation. Other artists try it, but few pull it off like she does.
And each era has its own look, its own feel.
Totally. Unique aesthetic, color palette, mood. And these shifts don't just keep existing fans interested, they pull new people in. Think about the whole Polaroid motif from 1989, or the cottagecore vibe with Folklore and Evermore. Those aesthetics bled into wider culture.
It's not just her own brand either. She's changed how artists interact with corporations, hasn't she?
Yeah, embracing partnerships that maybe used to be seen as, like, selling out. Apple Music, Papa John's Pizza, Capital One. She leverages her cultural relevance strategically for brands. It's become much more common now, partly thanks to her.
But she's also pushed back hard against corporations when it comes to artists' rights, a real flag bearer.
Definitely. Starting with streaming. Remember back in 2014?
Spotify.
Right. She protested their payment rates, which were, and often still are, fractions of a penny per stream. Pulled her entire catalog off Spotify for nearly 3 years.
That took guts.
It really did. Eventually, Spotify's CEO, Daniel Ek, convinced her to come back, but then she took on Apple.
The Apple Music letter, 2015?
Yep. Wrote an open letter criticizing them for not planning to pay artists during the platform's free trial period, and Apple basically folded immediately. Reversed the policy. Huge win.
Direct impact, again. But there was something even bigger with Universal, right?
Ah, yes. Probably her most groundbreaking move in terms of industry structure. When she re-signed with Universal Music Group, she negotiated a deal that included a condition
Okay.
that if Universal sold its shares in Spotify, all Universal artists would get a non-recoupable share of the proceeds, meaning money directly to artists, not just paying back label debts.
Wow. That benefits everyone, not just her.
Exactly. That's why it got called things like Comrade Swift's special dividend, or comparing her to Joan of Arc for creators' rights. It set a major precedent.
And then the Masters battle. That felt revolutionary. Can you break down what happened there?
Okay, so this involved her first 6 albums, the original master recordings. The ownership of those masters ended up with Scooter Braun's company, someone she had publicly clashed with.
So he owned her original work.
Essentially, yes. Her response, instead of trying to buy them back at a price she felt was unfair, she announced she would re-record all 6 albums, Taylor's versions,
Which she's been doing.
which she's been doing very successfully. But the impact of that decision was massive. It brought the whole issue of artists owning their masters, music industry ethics, into the mainstream public conversation like never before.
And inspired other artists.
Hugely. You saw artists like Ashanti, SCA, and others talking about re-recording their own work, wanting control back. It was a watershed moment for artist empowerment.
Her influence even extends to, like, how tickets are sold, right? The Reputation tour had that slow ticketing model.
Yeah, trying to combat scalpers by verifying fans and spacing out sales instead of an instant sellout. It was controversial at first, but ultimately pretty successful.
But then came the Eras tour and Ticketmaster.
Oh boy. The Ticketmaster fiasco, 2023-24, the demand was just
Yeah,
astronomical, far beyond anything Ticketmaster's system could handle, apparently.
the site just crashed.
Completely crashed.
Yeah.
Even though they still managed to sell 2.4 million tickets in one day, which is insane. But the whole process was a nightmare for fans.
And the fallout was huge.
Massive. Public outcry, political criticism, the Department of Justice opened an investigation, lawsuits were filed, there was even a Senate Judiciary Committee hearing about competition in the ticketing industry.
Wow. A Senate hearing because of a concert tour.
Pretty much. And one direct result was Ticketmaster and other ticketing companies agreeing to show all-in pricing up front, getting rid of those hidden junk fees. Some people literally called it the Taylor Swift policy.
That's incredible leverage.
Yeah.
And she also bypassed the big studios for the Eras tour movie release, didn't she?
She did. Went directly through AMC theaters for distribution. Another unconventional move, shaking things up.
Okay, shifting gears a bit. Beyond music and the industry itself, her economic impact. People talk about Swiftonomics. Is that real?
Oh, it's very real. Economists, academics, they're seriously studying it.
Huh.
Pollstar, the concert industry tracker, noted that if Taylor Swift herself were an economy, she'd rank as like the 199th largest country in the world.
That's hard to even process.
Right. And another research group, Question Pro, estimated her total economic impact in 2023 alone was around $5 billion.
$5 billion.
Billion. With a B, that's more than the entire annual GDP of about 50 different countries, from one artist and her associated activity.
So when her tour comes to town,
It's a major economic event.
Yeah.
Huge boost for hotels, restaurants, local businesses, travel. Cities see millions added to their tourism revenue. That's why you literally have politicians publicly begging her to bring the tour to their city or country.
it's an economic stimulus package in sequence?
Pretty much. And there are other knock-on effects, too, like a documented rise in guitar sales.
Yeah.
Specifically to women after she became famous.
Interesting.
Record voter registration numbers after she encourages her fans online to register. Even increased viewership and brand value for the NFL just because she started attending games.
The Travis Kelce effect, layered on the Taylor Swift effect.
Exactly. It's ripple effects everywhere.
And politically, too. She's seen as influential there.
Very much so.
Hmm?
Described as potentially the most powerful music personality in American politics.
Hmm.
Someone who might be able to bridge divides or at least mobilize a huge number of young voters. Her endorsements and statements carry real weight and have even inspired actual legislative proposals.
Wow. What about other cultural areas? Feminism? Fashion?
Definitely seen as a significant feminist figure, especially in how she's pushed back against media sexism and double standards. She's spoken openly about things like eating disorders, cyberbullying, the pressure women face in the public eye, and yeah, absolutely a major fashion influencer and just a huge cultural touchstone for millennials, and now Gen Z too.
And she inspires other artists, obviously. We mentioned Billie Eilish, Olivia Rodrigo, Ed Sheeran's a longtime friend and collaborator.
Loads of artists cite her as an inspiration, not just for the music, but her work ethic, her business sense, her advocacy for artists. We mentioned Ashanti and SCA re-recording. That's a direct echo.
And apparently she's the most covered artist now, more than the Beatles.
Since the 2010s, yeah.
Yeah.
According to some tracking, more artists are covering her songs than Beatles songs, which is just wild when you think about the Beatles' legacy.
It really is. And the inspiration goes beyond music, too.
Yeah, that's fascinating, too. Authors like Jenny Han, who wrote The Summer I Turned Pretty, cite her music. Film directors, Sean Levy called her a culture magnet. Guillermo del Toro praised her directing skills, calling her very accomplished.
She directed some of her music videos, right? And the All Too Well short film.
Exactly. And actors, too. Sadie Sink, from Stranger Things and the All Too Well film, credited working with Swift for helping her tackle more complex emotional roles.
So the influence is just incredibly wide-ranging. Okay, let's talk about the fans, the Swifties.
Ah, the Swift.
Their connection seems so intense, the loyalty, the creativity. People compare it to Beatlemania. Is that fair?
It's probably the closest 21st century equivalent, yeah. The sheer scale and passion of it. It's more than just fandom. It's like its own world.
A world.
Yeah, people talk about the Taylor Swift cinematic universe or the Swiftverse. It's this whole subculture built around her music, her clues, her mythology, this intricate world building, as scholars call it, that she cultivates and the fans dive into.
World building. That's an interesting way to put it. Which brings us to the final piece, academia. She's actually being studied at universities. Seriously.
Oh, absolutely, seriously. Her artistry, her fame, her business strategies, her cultural impact, it's all become legitimate fodder for scholarly research and university courses.
Like what kind of courses?
Get this. American University has Swiftonomics, economics of Taylor Swift. Arizona State offers the psychology of Taylor Swift. Harvard has Taylor Swift and her world. University of Miami Law School has intellectual property law through the lens of Taylor Swift.
IP law through Taylor Swift. Okay,
Yeah.
that's specific.
Isn't it? And her lyrics were even used on a university entrance exam in Brazil. Scholars see her as this kind of bridge figure, connecting contemporary culture to historical literature or social trends. They argue future historians will have to study her to understand our time.
That's quite a statement. Future historians studying Taylor Swift.
It really puts her impact in perspective, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. What a journey we've taken here. I mean, it's clear she's not just a pop star, not just commercially successful. She's fundamentally reshaped industries, steered cultural conversations, and now she's even a subject of serious academic inquiry.
Yeah, she's kind of transcended the usual categories of celebrity. Calling her the music industry, like some do, doesn't even feel like that much of an exaggeration in some way.
Right, a force of nature almost.
Yeah. Which leaves us with a pretty big question to ponder, I think.
Okay, what's the final thought?
Well, given this unprecedented reach across music, business, economics, politics, law, culture, academia, all these different fields, what does her singular impact really tell us about where power lies today, about community, about what resonates culturally in our, supposedly fragmented 21st century world? Is she, like some argue, the last monocultural entity, this one figure everyone seems to know? Or is she actually showing us a new way that global cultural forces can be built, something different entirely?
That's a fascinating question to leave people with. Is she an endpoint or a new beginning?
Exactly. Something to think about.